everybody. My name is Charlie Gonzales. I'm with the Platform Solutions group of IBM. If you're familiar with HPC in the last 20 years, Platform is, oops, kind of move that around. Platform's been around for about 20 years. We got acquired by IBM about 3 years ago. I've been in the workload scheduling with a product called Platform LSF and Symphony. Managing large commercial implementations of HPC as well as several GRE space, EDA space here in the Valley. A lot of the EDA folks are using our products to run their large HPC clusters. So let me just get going. We also started selling a product called GPFS, a parallel file system. We took that over about a year and a half ago from the IBM Power portfolio, and so Platform Computing is the brand that is in charge of selling it, as well as moving it forward into the next generation of the storage parallel file system kind of implementation. So GPFS has been around for a while. It's called Elastic Storage. Don't remember that because we're changing the name in the next few weeks. So if you see something else, it'll still be GPFS to most of you diehard parallel file system users. Again, been around for a long time, very scalable, very performant, and so forth. But my talk today isn't about our core products. It's about how we implement them in what we call HPC in a cloud, right? So it's kind of an interesting dilemma as to how do you define cloud HPC? Because cloud is a very generic term. We think of it as cheap commodity servers available on the fly that you can just rent on a minute, hourly, or monthly basis, right? But we also think of HPC as HP, which is high performance, not HP the company, but high performance. So we're also looking for very high performant systems that we want to be available on a rental model. That's really nirvana, right? We want an exascale system that we can run in an hour, run our job, and then turn it off, and then get billed like 10 cents. That's what we're looking for. But that's not really the case here. So what we're trying to do is build the cloud systems that's very performant, again, very secure. All the cloud stuff, got to fit into our security system, got to be fast, got to be reliable, all that stuff. But it's really based on the clients that we are talking to on a daily basis, both from a platform software perspective as well as the bigger IBM cloud initiative. So if you looked at the headlines, IBM is all about cloud now. I mean, we created a new division that's cloud focused. All of our products now from a software portfolio have a big drive to be cloud initiative, not just on-premise, but also obviously hybrid cloud, being able to take care of our on-prem software business as well as being able to allocate that to the cloud and back and forth and so forth. So we're really seeing a big direction set by the CXOs about moving some of the IT to cloud. And that's not a new thing. That's pretty much the whole cloud dilemma for the last 5 years as we're seeing it. But we're really looking at seeing that more into the traditional commercial implementations of high-performance compute. It's now come to the place where people have tried cloud implementations on various level scales, on down to Amazon virtualized machines, all the way down to what we're doing with, as you saw the last presenter have, and the last 2 presenters had cloud initiatives on a great, putting together resources from an educational standpoint, bringing together an Uber cloud, which you'll see a presentation tomorrow. All these things are being done to see how we can implement really traditional high-performance type of computing scale. Obviously, the technologies are there to run a job on a cluster on a cloud. But to do it in a high-performance secured manner, that's really what we're focused on here with the IBM vision. So demand for greater flexibility, again, on and off, at will, based on your requirements. No spare capacity, running everything at 100% capacity. On the on-prem, and being able to still meet your deadlines, your objectives by offloading or what we call bursting to a cloud kind of manner. Refocus your IT staff to, again, traditional programming capabilities rather than having to, when we run out of capacity, we need to add another cluster, we need to add more data centers, all those things where it really takes a lot of administration work for that to happen. Compute demands are always increasing. As you saw, the top 500 always growing 100x. That was an unbelievable slide there for the next exascale requirements. So those are the things that we're not trying to create exascale on cloud, but we're also know that some of those requirements from an exascale are from not just traditional supercomputing, but also from a commercial type applications are also increasing just as dramatically in order to perform those. Some of the other things that we're talking about, not just compute demands, but also storage demands. Storage demands are obviously greater. We're going to have a lot of talk tomorrow on big data, how do you compute on a big data scale. But you also need to know that the big data is also growing with the data lakes. Everybody's trying to save everything now, not just the core data that's filtered down from the traditional raw data sets, but everything on. But all of the raw data so that they can, again, analyze it at will whenever they want to. So one of the things, and that's why I kind of talked about GPFS in the beginning, is that we're not just focused on compute as a cloud, but also storage cloud kind of services models as you move along. Some of the benefits of cloud, I think most of you already know. Reduced capital expenditure, and obviously adopting these new business models where you can not also working with some of the things that we're driving from an infrastructure standpoint will hopefully filter down to your application standpoint, where you're also paying for your services, your software as a service, rather than having to chunk down, 6x in terms of licenses based on your hardware for all of your application needs that you might require. Low capital outlay, again, dev environments are now easy to procure for migrations, new development. If you think about it, a lot of people think of running just cloud for production, but a lot of people now are using platform as a service capabilities. So if you look at IBM's portfolio, one of the big things in there is a program called Bluemix, which is basically a program as a platform as a service where you can start playing with all different types of technologies on a rental model. You can create test dev environments, has its own API. You can create open APIs in there to build your new latest set of applications that you want to deploy on the cloud. So all of these things are kind of bringing us together to where our clients are going and where they want to be on the cloud. So, but high-performance applications in the cloud can be harder than it seems, and that you've already seen a bunch of implementations on MPIs, HMM. You're going to see other. How do we create applications that perform? Obviously, everything has to be in the right place for HPC to work properly in a high-performant manner. That means your compute has to be right, your amount of memory, your match your application, your networking has to be correct. All these things have to be implemented. Then you have to have your software middleware, what's your scheduler, how's your MPI involved. All of those have to be coordinated in order for your application to run in the performant manner that you want it to be. So what we're trying to offer is basically, what are the challenges in deploying in the cloud? Obviously, performance is some angle that we're trying to address. So clients may experience poor or unpredictable performance. So if you go out there and just deploy your applications on the cloud on a virtualized manner, what you're getting is basically renting. You're renting virtualized pools. You might have some places with bare metal capabilities. So all those where it lands is basically you don't know where it lands. You can pay for add-on services for greater flexibility of where it lands, better networking capabilities. But for the most part, a lot of the service vendors are not focused on that. So how do we provide exceptional performance? Bare metal dedicated infrastructure. So we run on Softlayer, and I'll talk about Softlayer in a little bit. Softlayer's claim to fame is bare metal dedicated infrastructure. We can do virtual machines as well. Same thing as Amazon. We provide all of the characteristics of Amazon with S3. With object layer storage and stuff like that. But for the most part, for focusing on high performance in a cloud rental kind of model, we provide bare metal dedicated infrastructure. We also support fast networking requirements. So out of the box, 1 gig, 10 gig, and then we have InfiniBand capability. So some of the specialized hardware that you see in it's like GPUs, things like that, faster CPU time. So we're not, the bleeding edge. So if you're looking for us to provide you with some of the systems that you've seen here from Coral or anything like that, that's not going to be available for the next year or so. But we do provide you with really fast, very stable, very optimal and customized, and also customized HPC kind of nodes for you. So if your applications require a lot of memory per CPU core, if you require InfiniBand, if you require large spinning or fast spinning disks, those are the things that you can customize in order to make your application perform just like you would architect it on-premise. All those things are capable. Advanced data management, that's where we're putting together elastic storage on a cloud, having a very fast parallel file system, not only for performance, but also security capabilities, have it be encrypted, data at rest kind of models, separated bare metal hardware infrastructure so it doesn't touch anybody else's VLAN. All those things are available for you. All of the other things, this is one of the things about cloud models, right? So we've talked to a lot of customers that have been doing their technology refreshes every 3 years or every 4 years sometimes, some places like that. As you see the uptick in performance every year, although the CPU cores hasn't been exceptional, our frequency performance lately, the networking, the amount of memory, the disks are all improving in a very fast rate. And that's really where you're looking at the advent of where these latest HPC applications are moving to, taking advantage of those faster disks, faster networking, and all that stuff in order to, again, gain more performance, all those things. So with the ability of our cloud resources, since it's a rental model, every time you re-up, we always try to give you the most latest things that we have. So we're coming out with Haswells now, coming out with the latest, or some of the latest NVIDIA K-series GPUs. So those things are available for you. And again, on a monthly model, so that when you want to change your model, so when we have newer technology available for you, we'll let you know. You can re-up, change the technologies you want, again, to change your performance. And then the good thing about it is you can test these out. You don't have to change your whole production right away. You can get a test cluster of the latest NVIDIA, the latest or the faster CPU core, more memory, see how that changes your application capabilities. So instead of you having to dish out, test dev environment and also go to Intel every time and ask for test servers, you can try it out on a monthly or hourly, sometime basis for testing your performance characteristics. Trying to finish so you guys can get lunch here. Obviously, other things is privacy security concerns. Bare metal is very secure. It's in its own private VLAN. Nobody else touches your machine capabilities. You can have a dedicated pipe into the data centers, or you can have a VPN system. So if you're doing hybrid cloud or doing a lot of stuff where you need to have a client interface into your Softlayer or cloud architecture, all that is available to you. So let me skip ahead to where I was. So I think I talked about all that. So you can choose to have your own private VLAN. You can have multiple VLANs. You can VLAN span to different data centers if you're on the same account. All of these things are possible within this paradigm. Again, file system capabilities. So the beauty about having compute nodes in the cloud is you can turn them on and off, but you need to have data resident, and you have it and depending on your industry, obviously, you can keep it as secure as possible, encrypted and a parallel file system. We're talking about in the near future developing nearline services that are available on a rental or the traditional cloud model on a monthly basis. All those things are available to you, but when you're done with the system, what exactly does that happen to that data or to the compute nodes that are running your application? They're decommissioned. They're put on a DoD-approved method, disk scrubbing method. So when we re-up them for the next customer, there's no trace of your data or your application or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about any of that lag or any of those type of security risks once you're bringing those up. All the certifications, based on the industry that you have, some of these are pertinent to you, obviously. Cost transparency. So what we try to provide, since everything is bare metal private VLAN, one of the cool things about Softlayer is the data transfer rates are very transparent. They're very obvious as to how much they are. Most of them are free. So data center to data center transfer costs, all inbound traffic is at no charge on the Softlayer infrastructure. The only thing you have to worry about is outbound data that you need to cost. So there's no cost. There's no hidden fees that might appear as in other cloud services vendors when you're obviously you order their machines, you're transferring data back and forth from one node to another. All those costs are data transfer costs to other cloud vendors, so you don't really know how much your bill is at the end of the month because of the different types of workloads that you might be running. Require different types of fees or different type of data transfer or networking capabilities. So all of these things are very transparent for you. You can dial up the resources up and down as you need. Again, traditional cloud kind of methodology. You can deploy on-premise or in the cloud, traditional hybrid model. So we've always been, we've always talked to our LSF customers where they wanted to burst out to the cloud, so we have those technologies now within the scheduler. We also have the sync capability or replication capability within the parallel file system, so that you can directly replicate from your on-premise all the way down to your cluster cloud capabilities. All of the multi-cluster technologies that we built into LSF, Symphony, GPFS are available to you. So same thing, you can treat your data center, your other data center as in the cloud, very similar to what you would on-premise. So reporting is also available. Usage-based accounting. If you're familiar with LSF, we built a lot of reporting tools on top of LSF. These can be either real-time reporting capabilities or customized reporting capabilities, so you can see down to very low granularity as to how your cluster is being utilized, who's using your cluster, which applications are using them. You can implement things like license scheduling capabilities. So all of the features that are available on top of LSF are also available on the cloud model for you. Local point of presence, this is where the strength of Softlayer comes in. So we have a very large footprint out in the world. This is a kind of a little bit outdated slide. So I think we're up to, let me see what the next slide is. Yeah, so I think we're up to 40 plus data centers in 5 continents. If you go back to the last slide, so we're pretty much in all the major major global footprints in the world. The only major continent that we are not in is obviously Africa and Antarctica. So we're getting a big presence to really roll out the data centers and expand the Softlayer footprint in terms of the networking backbone. That's one of the major strengths of Softlayer is the networking backbone, so that you can hop into their point of presence and really take advantage of a hybrid cloud methodology. But 100 plus, I think we're over 150,000 now. Softlayer's been around for 10 years. They got acquired about 2 years ago. They're very strong in the gaming industry. And also types of use cases where it's very network latency driven. We've been around for, again, 40 data centers, 5 continents, global DNS, DDoS mitigation, all those things are available for you. So one of the key challenges is that, again, I talked about custom applications requiring custom requirements, custom hardware. So that's one of the things that IBM's HPC Cloud has that available for you. So some applications have unique requirements, fast interconnect, all that stuff is available for you. So the cool thing about our methods is we're backed by platform computing, which has been around the HPC industry for a while. So we have a lot of consulting, professional services, and we've carved out a bunch of those guys that were supporting the field and created this special group called the Cloud Operations Team. So what is the Cloud Operations Team for you? So what do you do when you want to implement something in the cloud, right? So a lot of you guys how many people there are running on a cloud right now? This is probably good. Wow. We had a lot more in the last. I know. Well, let me tell you this. Well, first thing you probably think you're doing is traditional cloud is it's a virtual machine, right? So you package your image, throw it out there, and run it and see how it works, right? In a traditional HPC, in our HPC environment, we treat it like on-premise. So we ask you, what are you running on-premise? What are your networking capabilities? What do you require? What are your application characteristics? And really have a cloud operations team that goes with you in a consultative basis to figure out what your how much memory footprint, all those things are for you, so that we can provide you with the very best architecture possible within the Softlayer data centers. That is. So we work with you to see what kind of provisioning you need, how to get your application onboarded with LSF, Symphony, the workload scheduler that you want. We're open to using any MPI, not just platform MPI. So all the stuff you saw from the last presentation, though, you can run all those into our systems. And work with you with all the networking characteristics. That's probably the hardest part that most people don't figure out is that, well, we can stick a VM, throw it out there in Amazon. Then we'll see how far it runs. But then there's a lot of networking characteristics that you have to worry about, how to administer, how do you connect back and forth your VPN traffic, how do you work with your networking guy to open a firewall, to fast data transfer capabilities, how do you do things like Aspera, file transfer, all those things that's where the cloud operations teams really has to help out. Since we're focused just on HPC, we really know a lot of the aspects of what some of these user applications are out there and best practice. So just to repeat, if you didn't get that, the products that and the services that we're selling are in blue, Platform LSF, plus some of the technologies that are on top of LSF, like Platform Application Center for a GUI portal for job submission. It has some reporting capabilities as well. Symphony, which is our low latency scheduler, that's very useful for big data. Also, financial services, risk applications, things that need to spawn thousands of jobs in a very fast manner. And then our elastic storage on GPFS technology. We've packaged those in an easy consumable rental model, but again, it can be customized to your requirements, and all supported by this 24/7 cloud ops support. So most of there's a standalone or hybrid cloud model. Again, you could take your on-premise and connect it to the cloud, or you can just have a fully standalone cloud model. That can be, test, dev, production environment using our multi-cluster or our bursting capabilities that are available right now, both on the compute as well as the storage side system. So to wrap it up, so building high-performance applications, we have our Cloud Ops team to help support you, onboard your application, as well as work through all the networking. If there's any issues in terms of the performance, we'll work on the infrastructure support for you and all those things. Cluster and workload management is provided, so LSF, you don't have to worry about the workload management capabilities. Dedicated infrastructure, bare metal performance, very fast choices for networking, and the hybrid cloud for cost transparency and flexibility, so you can do multi-cluster back and forth. You can send a job to on-prem or on the cloud. We're going to have additional bursting technologies moving forward as we roll into 2015, all those things. And then all that back to multiple points of presence, as well as in the data center community. So if you're part of a multi-global conglomerate or any place that has affiliates outside of the US or anywhere else in the world, you can have access to also cloud data centers and support there. All of our services are available in all the data centers that Softlayer has. There's just limitation in some of the InfiniBand capability. And obviously, secure service capabilities. We're working on a lot of security stuff that we're kind of piggybacking on with the IBM cloud community. So things like Intel TXT kind of security capabilities, a lot of the OpenStack capabilities that are coming out in terms of security, as well as some of the OpenStack to OpenStack hybrid cloud methodologies that some of you might be thinking about implementing. All right, with that, I think it's time for lunch. Please come visit us. We have a booth over there, so I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, as well as we have a dedicated support and sales team in the Bay Area as well. Any questions? Thank you. Any questions for Charlie? Good morning. Correct. We can, but most of our customers that we're targeting are for high performance, so we're pretty much stuck with or going with bare metal. Mm-hmm. For bare metal, obviously the large support model, the infrastructure networking support capabilities that Softlayer has between data centers as well as internal to its data centers. The choice of your interconnect, so 1 gig, 10 gig, InfiniBand. Other Softlayer is looking at the other obviously large, much faster interconnect for that as well. That we'll take advantage of. Okay. And also bare metal storage, I think. Those are the some of the things that you normally see on-prem where only object storage is available for a lot of cloud vendors. We have, obviously bare metal storage that you can produce, or you can install your parallel file system, or like just an NFS map. All those things are available to you. Okay. All right. Thank you.